truths. AD on the radio.
Every day you're going and working, running that rat race and that pace and that place will leave a bad taste for anyone, everyone working day after day. So buddy, I gotta say for you, there's gotta be a better way, yeah. And you do what they told ya, company man, feel it, a mindless little soldier. How can you live like that and maintain your composure before it's begun? Your life's already freaking over. Yeah, I do what I want when I
So, Joanna Angel was born in Brooklyn, New York City. Raised up in River Edge in Bergen County, New Jersey. Smart as a whip. Went to Cherry Hill Elementary School. Graduated from Riverdale High School. And after graduating at the age of 17, she went straight to a really, really good school. Rutgers University. And there, this smarty pants of a woman snagged herself a degree in English literature and a minor in film studies. Now, the film studies part, I guess, would come in handy a little later on in her life when she built her own empire. But in the meantime, she worked in a kosher fast food restaurant in Teaneck, New Jersey. During high school, she was a server at Applebee's and also worked at a health food place called Happy's Health Grill. Now, during the time that she was going to Rutgers University, she started an empire pretty much out of her dorm room, I think. And we'll ask her about it when she gets here, but she started a website called Burning Angel. Well, she was just a college kid, kind of getting in on the ground level of the internet. Hardcore adult site, and essentially, burningangel.com was the beginnings of alt porn, which has become a movement. It's become a movement, really. And Joanna has done so much. Like, Funkhauser, do you have your own empire at this stage in the game? Did you do anything noteworthy while you were in college? Actually, Funkhauser really did do something noteworthy while he was in college. Turns out Funkhauser, before he was in radio, being a producer for folks like me and being an on-air type, talking between songs by Fall Out Boy and Finch and all those bands that were kind of coming up when you... Yeah. Funkhauser's an architect. Like, he builds, but he creates buildings. So, like, there's a place in this world where we can go see buildings that you've designed. Is this correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Funkhauser's an architect. So, I don't know. Did way more than I ever did.
It's a building.
It's not an empire. It's a building. But it's still, like, what have you done in your life? Oh, well, see this building? That happened because of me. But Joanna Angel built an empire out of her dorm room. Whip smart, incredible thinker. And she's going to be on the show today. We can't wait to have her. Thank you so much for joining us. Join the conversation at ADSXE at Funk FM is where we be.
iHeartRadio puts the spotlight on Tom Petty. Despite tension between band members during the recording of 1985's Southern Accents, the album was another hit. The controversial video for Don't Come Around Here No More also won the first Best Video Award at the VMAs. Don't come around here no more. After the Heartbreakers' Let Me Up, I've Had Enough in 1987, Petty formed the Traveling Wilburys with Bob Dylan, George Harrison, Jeff Lynne, and Roy Orbison the next year. The group released 2 platinum albums, with Handle with Care becoming their most successful song. Petty released his first solo album, Full Moon Fever, in 1989. It was a multi-platinum smash, featuring the iconic hits I Won't Back Down, Runnin' Down a Dream, and Free Fallin'. The Heartbreakers reformed in 1991 and released the hit Into the Great Wide Open. However, after Petty's 1994 solo album Wildflowers, Lynch left the Heartbreakers and was replaced by Steve Ferrone. The revised lineup was featured on the 1996 soundtrack album for She's the One and 1999's Echo. All things Tom Petty, info, music, and more are on iHeartRadio. Keyword Tom Petty.
iHeartRadio goes one-on-one with Mike Rutherford to talk about why he felt the documentary Genesis, Some of the Parts, was worthy of production.
People forget from that one band, school band, you had the Gabriel career, the Collins, the Mechanics career, and then you put songs together. This is the key. You see a list of songs and you kind of go, In the Air Tonight, Invisible Touch, Living Years, Biko, and you kind of go, that's a great combination of songwriting. And so in a way, this documentary tries to sort of cement that a little bit. Because I meet people still these days who say to me, you mean you're the Mike and the Mechanics? They don't tie it in all the time. So in a way, this documentary, I think, helps do that.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more Mike Rutherford and all your favorite artists.
Like most kids from a privileged white upper-middle-class suburban background, for a significant portion of his childhood, he was pretty convinced he was down. AD on the radio.
Yeah, oh, let's go. Talking that mess, better act like you know. Oh, let's go tonight. Walk away, punk, yeah, bitch. That's right, I know this. You're nothing but a punk, bitch. You're nothing but a punk, bitch. So walk away, yeah, yeah. You've been talking about me for a long time.
So, the other day we made the announcement that Bobby Jindal was dropping out of the race. He no longer was seeking the GOP nomination for president of these United States of America and leader of the free world. And
Bobby who?
Yeah, exactly. To which Funkhauser replied, who? Jimmy Fallon seemed to feel the same way.
We got to talk about the big political story right now. That's right. Last night, Bobby Jindal announced that he is dropping out of the race for president. I guess that after talking it over with family and friends, he realized that even they didn't know he was running for president.
Oh, hey, look.
Buffering.
Only the foremost audio company, only the foremost provider of audio in the world.
Please wait.
Only the foremost provider of audio in the world. Don't have enough interweb speed going on right now to be able to play a piece of...
Sorry, Jimmy Fallon.
Oh, God. What? Seriously? I feel better about this sort of stuff when occasionally I listen to other people on the radio. Like, I heard Stern run into problems like this a little while ago. I heard I heard Glenn Beck the other day talking about, I don't even remember what he was talking about, but he was in one of those very Glenn Beckian moments where he's like, at this stage in the game, who are we? And full disclosure, I actually really enjoy Glenn Beck on the radio when I get a chance to listen to him. A lot of people are like, that guy's a crazy wingnut. How could you? I was like, he's entertaining. He's good. He knows how to spin a yarn. I don't have to agree with everything he says to find him to be artistically viable. And, there's some stuff that Glenn Beck does that I really enjoy. I love how he's trying to sort of evolve his show. I mean, not like it needs evolving. He made, $30 million last year or something absolutely ridiculous like that. He's sort of like one of the biggest in this world. And that's actually why I started listening to him. Like, when I first got into talk radio, when I got tapped by the Grand Dragons of talk radio over at Premiere, and they were like, hey, we need to find somebody that replaces the angry old white guys when they die off, which we think is going to be soon. So we think you might be it. Get on the radio and start doing the talk radio equivalent of wind sprints and push-ups as we get ready to usher in a new generation of talk radio superstar, of which you will be the poster child. And I was like, ooh, poster child. That sounds like it's going to pay well. What does it pay? And they're like, just focus on the words poster child and don't think about the check. And I was like, okay, cool. But when I did start doing talk radio, I was like, all right, this is kind of my world now. who are the best at this. And, the only barometer I had to measure the best, the only barometer I had to measure who was the best without having been like a real listener to a lot of what passes for talk radio in this day and age was the amount of money they made. And I was like, all right, who makes the most money? Rush Limbaugh and Glenn Beck. They're the most successful. And Rush Limbaugh wanted to charge me to listen to his podcast, and I was like, yeah, not paying to hear what the mainstream media doesn't want you to know. So I started listening to the Glenn Beck stuff, and you know what? Rather good. And I think I caught him at a time where a lot of people found him to be kind of just really, really over the top in the past. And I think I caught him at a time where he was sort of like readdressing the balance of what the hell he was doing. And he sort of, I think the thing that made an impression on me was he had sort of like a lefty rabbi on his show. And he wanted to have this lefty rabbi on his show, not to scream and yell at him, but he wanted to have sort of like common ground. He's like, we disagree on so much stuff fundamentally, but we agree on what it is to be a good human being, and we're really good friends, even though we don't agree on political issues. So we think it's fun and interesting to have an exchange every once in a while on the air. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. Reaching over the borders of ideologies and finding common ground. That's kind of sort of what I'm all about. And that seems like a thing to me. And then I kept listening, and I heard a little bit of what people were talking about when they said Beck is out of his mind, man, he's crazy. And I was just like, I still enjoyed listening to him, but whenever I say like I like Glenn Beck, people are just like, what the hell? Seriously, how is this? I'm like, hey, I like Glenn Beck, so sue me. It's good stuff. And you know what? The other thing is, like I said, he does rather well. I think he was the top earning talk radio guy this past year just gone by, made more money than Rush Limbaugh and everybody else combined. So I was like, let me see if I can't take a page out of his book occasionally. So occasionally I check in on a show and I see what the hell Glenn Beck is up to. And I was refreshed the other day to find Glenn Beck doing one of his sort of like, what have we become? Our pulpits have gone silent shticks. And like during this sort of like unbelievably dramatic moment, like in the background you hear and I thought it was something going on my computer. I was like, what is that? Where is that coming from? And then all of a sudden Glenn Beck is like, dude, what are you doing? I'm trying to do radio here. And his producer was like, yeah, sorry, I'm just trying to cue up the audio. I must have had the wrong button pressed. And I was like, if the guy that makes 30 million I don't know, like a lot a year, has stuff like this going on in his studio, then do I need to go Michael Douglas falling down on this computer in front of me because the audio takes a while to buffer? No, I don't suppose I do. But yeah, anyways, Bobby Jindal is out of the race. Let's try it again.
It says, nope, you're not going to do that today.
Wait. Oh, hold on. Wait. Oh, it's buffered. And thank freaking God for that.
We got to talk about the big political story right now. That's right. Last night, Bobby Jindal announced that he is dropping out of the race for president. I guess that after talking it over with family and friends, he realized that even they didn't know he was running for president. I'm dropping out. Dropping out of what? I'm running for president.
Where are you running?
And get this, Trump said that recently he lost 15 pounds while on the campaign trail. Yeah, well, so did everyone when Bobby Jindal dropped out of the race. I mean, he's very thin man, very thin. Guys, it seems like the holidays are really starting to kick into gear.
Did you say Joanna Angel's running a little late?
Yeah. We're in Southern California, and that's right where we're broadcasting from a place that's right where the 405 and the 101 intersect, which is probably the number one most traffic spot. And no matter how many times I tell people, you're going to be stuck in traffic, they're always stuck in traffic. You never know what time. So she's probably about 5 minutes out.
Well, she is the commander of a media empire, whereas we are the cog in someone else's machine. So we're just going to wait for her and be patient. And Funkhauser, what does your last name mean in German?
It means Radio Shack in German.
Oh.
Funkhauser.
Really?
This is fascinating. Radio Shack just announced they will be celebrating Black Friday on Wednesday. Yeah. Mostly because Radio Shack's worried they won't be around on Friday.
I got a better response for that. Where am I going to get my 1/4-inch plugs and remote control cars?
You know, I went
and
into
cell phones.
I went into a Radio Shack a little while ago, and man, I hate to see any business fail, but I got it pretty quick as to why they were failing. I was just like, oh, wow. The guy behind the counter is an interesting mix of both rude and uninformed. Usually you get one or the other. If you work in a place, you're either allowed to be snotty to the customer or you can be an idiot. But this guy was an interesting combination of rude and mean and didn't know what the hell he was talking about. So I was like, oh, really? This company's not lasting? Go figure. I wonder why. Jimmy Kimmel had something very creative to say about Radio Shack on Black Friday.
Radio Shack is open Wednesday with doorbuster deals for the whole family this holiday season. Half off on all.
Oh, we got our internet from Radio Shack, apparently. Unbelievable. Unfreaking believable. Funkhauser is a producer of the show. You see me come in and have these little technical difficulties on a regular basis.
Yeah. Makes me giggle.
I mean, at what point am I justified in breaking something?
Never.
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 Oh, really?
It's just,
are you sure?
It's like if you worked on cars from 1920 and each one was broken. It's like how many times you could complain that they're broken. They're always going to be broken. This is broadcast radio. Everything sucks.
I don't work on broken cars from the 1920s. I work in syndicated radio, which comes out of a major market. And anyways, Jimmy Kimmel had a parody about Radio Shack.
Radio Shack is open Wednesday with doorbuster deals for the whole family this holiday season. Half off on all 470 ohm watt 5% carbon film resistors for mom. Save on a 100 UF 35 volt 20% axial lead electrolytic capacitor for dad. Surprise the kids with 4-gauge wrapper compatible with all Kynar coated wires. And treat yourself to huge markdowns on AA battery housings and coaxial adapters. Radio Shack. We don't know why we're here either.
Oh, you know what? All right. If we are waiting for our guest and she's still battling traffic on the way here, let's... Sorry, I just got a tweet from Lisa who said, how do you make 80 an angry guy on the radio? Buffer. Yeah, I spent, you know what? It's so funny. I spend so much time trying to be that sensible voice of reason, that devil's advocate that finds common ground between opposing viewpoints and manages to bring the left and the right together over universal truths like boobs are great and fart jokes are funny. And that's kind of my role. I want to leave the world a better place than how I found it. And you know what you have to do? You have to be kind of measured in the way that you go through life if you want to pull that off. You have to really be careful and thoughtful and a little bit sensitive when you're reaching out to people that might have viewpoints that are starkly different to yours, and you still want them to listen to the show, and you still want people to be able to leave the show feeling like we've all grown as a result of it. It's kind of a tall order, and it requires keeping a lot of you just got to go through life in kind of a measured way when you're trying to achieve something like that. And you got to keep your temper in check about a couple of things because, well, you're never really sort of like fully aware of exactly who's listening. And you want to be, I hate the word inclusive because it sounds so hippie freaking dippy, but you want to be, you want to kind of provide a place where people feel safe to be themselves. On the radio. At least that's what I do. I want to add something to communities that we're on, and I want to give back more than I take. I want to have maybe, like I said, brought people together that didn't necessarily realize they had a whole lot in common, but you got to do that in a rather calm fashion. So I spend so much time squashing down the raging inner child of my borderline narcissistic rage that seethes below the surface every single day of my life to do this show. And little things like the internet freaking buffering will make it come out. Because, who am I going to offend by being mad at buffering internet? Answer, almost no one. But it's amazing that I spend so much time being sensible and keeping myself in check. And the thing that's going to push me over the freaking edge is when the internet buffers.
You just got to think of Seal lyrics.
Yeah.
Ba-da-da, ba-da, da-da. Da, da.
Oh, even Seal's buffering. Thanks, Obama. All right. Okay.
We just play a tune, break early. Want to do that?
No, let's
regroup
do
at 35.
Some news. Yeah, let's do some news. What's going on in the world?
Hold on, I'm so not ready for this.
Oh, really?
This just handed to me.
Yeah.
Physics are making predictions about the new Star Wars movie.
Physics?
Psychics?
Psychics. I was like, physics don't make predictions.
I told you I wasn't ready.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Okay, I know. I was like, really? Physicists are making predictions about Star Wars? Psychics are making prediction about the new Star Wars movie. I've actually read a thing or two about this. Psychics think that Han Solo will die, George Lucas will make a cameo, and almost nobody will attend a screening with a date. Go on.
Kylie Jenner's boyfriend, Tyga, turns 26 today. Happy birthday, Tyga.
Happy birthday, Tyga. And the entire Kardashian family is attending his birthday party, partly because they want to show their support, but mostly because they heard there'd be some cameras there.
Days like this when I feel untouchable, I try and make up for all the wrongs I did, but living my life like a Cosby kid, jamming on the one like Theo and Steve.
This is USA Radio News. I'm Melanie Burkett. The suspected ringleader of the Paris terrorist attacks is dead. The French Interior Minister said Abdelhamid Aboud was killed in yesterday's police raid in a Paris suburb. He also said police did not know the 27-year-old Belgium national was in Europe prior to the attacks, and they believe he was involved in 4 of the 6 attacks foiled by French intelligence since May of this year. Sources say he was the brains behind Friday's terror attacks across Paris that killed 129 people, including an American college student. Democratic presidential frontrunner Hillary Clinton says the U.S. must continue leading efforts to defeat and destroy ISIS.
The world's great democracies can't sacrifice our values or turn our backs on those in need. Therefore, we must choose resolve. And we must lead the world to meet this threat.
Clinton argued that more nations must get involved in the battle. This is USA Radio News. I'm Melody Burkett.
Bad credit card debt happens to good people. Credit card companies lure you in with low introductory rates or low minimum payments, and before you know it, you owe thousands of dollars in credit card debt. It has happened to millions of good people just like you. But here's the good news. Thanks to a powerful program now approved, anyone with $2,000 or more in credit card debt can cut their credit card payments up to half and even reduce or eliminate interest charges altogether. That's right. Our nationwide nonprofit program is helping U.S. residents cut their credit card payments. Call 800-991-6376 now. The call and information are free. Credit Guard has helped over 500,000 people with their credit card debt, and now we can help you. Call 800-991-6376 to see how this powerful nonprofit program can work for you. Bad credit card debt happens to good people. Get free of credit card debt today. Call 800-991-6376. That's 800-991-6376. Again, 800-991-6376.
Trending. This update is brought to you by TrueCar. Find the new car you want, see what others paid, and lock in guaranteed savings from TrueCar certified dealers. Save time, save money, and never overpay. Download the TrueCar app today. In the NBA, the Houston Rockets fired their head coach Kevin McHale on Wednesday. They then took the court against the Portland Trailblazers, ended up with a 108-103 overtime victory. James Harden for Houston ended up with 45 points. He also scored all 9 of the team's points in the overtime period. The Thunder topped the Pelicans 110-103. Oklahoma City's Russell Westbrook led the way with 43 points. Spurs down the Nuggets 109-98. San Antonio's 9-2 on the year. That's the second best record in the NBA behind only the undefeated Warriors. Pacers topped the 76ers 112-85. Philadelphia still the only winless team left in the NBA, now 0-12 on the year. College basketball, top-ranked North Carolina stays undefeated, now 3-0 after a 78-58 win over Wofford. I'm Eddie Garcia.
iHeartRadio shines the spotlight on Guns N' Roses.
So I had to keep her. She's buried right in my
Guns N' Roses have been credited with reviving the mainstream popularity of rock music at a time when popular music was dominated by dance and pop metal. In 1991, the band released Use Your Illusion 1 and Use Your Illusion 2. They debuted at number 2 and number 1 on the Billboard 200 and have sold a combined 35 million copies worldwide. After more than a decade of work and many lineup changes, Guns N' Roses released the long-awaited album Chinese Democracy in 2008, which, at an estimated $14 million in production costs, made it the most expensive album to ever be produced in music history. The band's classic lineup, along with their later members Reed and drummer Matt Sorum, were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2012. It was their first year of eligibility.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more Guns N' Roses and all your favorite artists.
iHeartRadio goes one-on-one with Bob Seger to discuss the importance of keeping true to your own vision.
If everybody does everything in a totally commercial fashion, music never gets any better. It's just everybody copying everybody else. And you have to fight for your own uniqueness. You have to fight for your own vision and stick to it when the powers that be are making money because they're commercializing you. They're telling you, but if you put another chorus at the end or whatever, and it doesn't fit the structure of the song, but if you keep hammering that chorus and make your verse shorter, and they don't know what they're talking about. It's your vision, and you have to have the strength to stick with that.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more Bob Seger and all your favorite artists.
Where the left and right come together for fundamental truths. AD on the radio.
Every day you're going and working, running that rat race at that pace and that place will leave a bad taste for anyone, everyone working day after day. So buddy, I gotta say, for you, there's gotta be a better way, yeah. And you do what they told ya, company man, feel it, a mindless little soldier. How can you live like that and maintain your composure before it's begun? Your life's already freaking over, yeah. I do what
Welcome to the studio, Joanna Angel. Thank you so much for joining us here again today. We really, really appreciate it. Thank you. How are you? How's everything going?
Everything's good. Good. How are you guys?
We are.
Oh, there. That's how you make the headphones.
We're buffering this morning. That's how we're
buffering this morning. We are experiencing some technical difficulties that are making us want to go Michael Douglas falling down on some of the equipment. But things got a whole lot better now that you're here.
Oh, good. I'm here to fix the equipment.
Excellent.
Right.
Glad to hear it.
I'm here for it.
So, we were talking about this earlier in the week. Now, since the last time you were on this show. We've actually become vaguely legit. We started getting picked up by affiliates and things of that nature.
We're on the air.
Yeah, we're all sort of like a legitimate operation now. And I was saying to Funkhauser, I was like, we're being pitched an entirely different quality of guests now that we're not just languaging in digital obscurity, now that we're on FM radio stations and things of that nature. People are all excited to get booked on the show. And I was like, but you know what? When we were nothing, when we were zip zing nada, we were nobodies. The owner of a digital media empire, Joanna Angel, came on our show, and she looked after us when we were nobody. So thank you so much. You will always hold a special place in this show's heart.
Oh, well, thank you. I'm really glad. I don't know. I guess. I don't know.
So just for people that don't know, you're kind of you're an incredibly impressive person, only because you started BurningAngel.com out of your dorm room at Rutgers University. Is that right?
It was more of a crappy little apartment, maybe not exactly a dorm room. I moved out of the dorms when I was a sophomore, and I started Burning Angel when I was a senior. But yeah, that's how it goes. That's when I started it.
And you were one of the people that got in sort of on the ground level of the internet. What year was this? Sort of the early 2000s? Yeah,
2002.
Early 2000s.
Yeah.
And this was when people were just starting to cotton on to the fact that hey, maybe you can buy and sell stuff on this internet thing.
It's true. Yeah, people were, it was definitely a time where I think a lot of people were like, hey, I could start a little online business, people.
You're like the grandparents of the internet.
Yeah,
you're like the first. You're like the
no.
Lewis and Clark,
I think it was kind of in the I definitely know there's people a little bit older than me in the porn industry that were really when the internet first started. I'm kind of I was shortly after that what year did the internet actually when did
Some
AOL
people say
start?
the 60s, but
no,
I'd say 90 something.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I mean, I feel like it really started when everybody had AOL, right?
Did you?
I know some people that have these.
We have AOL here in the studio dialing up.
Do you? That's
buffering.
Well, all right. So, did you have AOL back in the day?
A long time ago, yeah, I did. I used to hang out in those chat rooms. I made a lot of friends there. Made some good quality friends.
I had I used to hang out in AOL chat rooms. So there was
they were fun.
East Coast.
And you couldn't even show anyone your picture. You were just going off of a screen name, and you would be like, "Hey, what do you look like?" And you'd be like, "Yeah, I look like this." But I always told the truth. I didn't realize there was even an option to lie about that stuff.
Option of lying. do you remember occasionally you get these little things that popped up that went ASL? What's your age, sex, and location?
Yeah. It's the good old days. And then all the fucking creeps had to, whoops, you can't say that stuff here. and then people had to ruin it by being creepy.
Yeah. They did. I remember I used to love going into sort of East Coast hardcore.
Yeah, I would go in there all the time.
Well, what was your screen name? I bet we talked.
I know, right? It was
in the New York City hardcore chat room. What was your scrreen name? Do you remember?
Punk Rock Angel or something. PNK.
I'm pretty confident that we might have spoken back in the day. I mean,
AD, did you send Joanna an ASL back in 2002?
yeah, probably. We could have dated.
Sadly, we
really are dating ourselves now. But yeah, Burning Angel did start in 2002, and I guess it's been a big adventure.
Yeah, no, absolutely it has, and it's just you built. I think you're very modest about it, but you did kind of ostensibly build an empire, and not only did you build an empire, but you sort of you created a genre of adult entertainment, the alt porn thing, and it's been often imitated but never properly duplicated. Was it?
Well,
was it you that? Was it kind of a slam on Suicide Girls a little bit when you were they're the McDonald's of alt porn or something? Was that you?
Yeah, and when I said it at the time, I didn't even really mean it to be an insult. It was just kind of like a matter of fact, it's they're a I don't know. I mean, a lot of people like McDonald's. It's just they're not like a DIY. I don't know. They're like a machine that pumps out photos of tattooed girls. I don't know. But I mean, us and Suicide Girls, we used to get compared a lot because we started around the same time. And when Burning Angel first started, there was no hardcore pornography on the website. We just had photos as well. So, yeah, and I think the main difference with Suicide Girls was definitely started by people that knew what they were doing, whereas I didn't know what I was doing. So, and I think that was kind of the charm of Burning Angel, is that it was the real deal. We just kind of learned things as we went along, but we don't really get compared anymore, because Suicide Girls is not pornography and Burning Angel is definitely pornography. But that's okay. I don't mean to slam on anyone. I just try to do what I do and do it well.
Are you ready to take a quick break from pornography and lower yourself to guest reading our news in just a little bit?
I'm excited about that. I'm really stoked.
All right, we'll do that when we get back.
With puppies in my face and Dad gotta join the human race. Time for a yawn and a stretch and a walk, you see. They know my order at the restaurant across the street. That's wrong.
iHeartRadio shines the spotlight on Rush. In 1980, Rush released Permanent Waves. Rush soon became one of the most successful bands in the world. The following year, they released Moving Pictures. The album reached number 3 and sold more than 4 million copies.
He gets high on you. When the space he invades, he gets by on you.
With the release of Signals in 1982, Rush's sound underwent yet another change. Synthesizers were now at the forefront of the group's music. The album included Rush's only top 40 hit single in the U.S., New World Man. Through the rest of the 80s, the band kept a somewhat lower profile, not spending as much time on the road. Even so, its albums continued to go gold or platinum. Rush began what amounted to a 5-year hiatus in 1997.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more Rush and all your favorite artists.
iHeartRadio goes one-on-one with Mike Rutherford to discuss that even though there were generational difficulties, his father was always quite supportive.
You know, you've got to understand, I'm sure it's the same over here, but in the UK, in England, you know, that generational change from my father's era to my era, you know, he was the English Empire days, 2 world wars. It was hard to communicate. There was a big divide between us. It's just there was no dialogue, really. You couldn't discuss things because there was no sort of platform to share conversations on. But no, he was supportive, and in a way, you know, given that he hadn't got a clue what I was doing, you know, what parent did in those days, you know, music, long hair and a guitar, he was given that. He was very supportive.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for
Like most kids from a privileged white upper-middle-class suburban background, for a significant portion of his childhood, he was pretty convinced he was down. AG on the radio.
Let's go, talking that mess, better act like you know. Oh, let's go tonight, walk away, punk, yeah, bitch. That's right, I know this. You're nothing but a punk bitch. You're nothing but a punk bitch. So walk away, yeah, yeah. You've been talking about me for a long time, but you're too scared to say what's on your mind.
So during the break, I think Joanna and I figured out that we might have gone to the same hardcore shows in New York City.
I'm sure we did. Well, did you hang out in New Brunswick?
Occasionally, like I was just in this band. We came over from England, and New York became our home base of operations.
Okay.
And
I was definitely more like in the New Jersey hardcore scene than I was in the in the New York hardcore scene, because I mean, just the Jersey scene was a little more welcoming to younger people.
Well, you're exactly right, because we were in New York City, and I was totally into New York City hardcore. I was into like Madball and Murphy's Law and Leeway and bands like that. But you're right. If you weren't from a certain block in New York City, the acceptance level in and around the Lower East Side was kind of low, especially if you were.
But did you go? I went. I still went to some of the shows. I mean, I hung out at like Coney Island High and.
Oh yeah, we got our record deal at Coney Island High. Like we showcased there, and it was a done deal. Coney Island High was awesome.
Yeah,
and
there were some fun times. But yeah, Jersey was a little more comfortable for younger people. Like all the basement shows and stuff like that. That's where I hung out.
Because like when we were off the road, we would play sort of like little shows to keep our chops up, and we did pretty well in parts of New Jersey. So what we would do is we'd go play these little these New Jersey hardcore shows, and like it'd be a Chinese restaurant turned it like the King Buffet in New Jersey would turn into a hardcore venue, and we would go play. But there was one unfortunately named band called Grindr back in the day, which was cool then, knowing what we know now.
I vaguely remember the name. Like I can't,
Grindr.
Yeah, I think I remember seeing it like on flyers and stuff. I could see the flyer in my brain.
And they were around where you went to college. I think a bunch of them went to Rutgers University. But like it's almost inevitable that we at some point haven't run into each other in former lives. So that's kind of cool and interesting. If you're just joining us, our guest is alt porn pioneer and media mogul Joanna Angel, who is lowering herself today on the show to reading our news. So you want to do some news, Joanna?
Yeah. I'm just reading headlines.
Yeah. Do you have the list of headlines there in front of you?
Yeah. This is breaking news. Kim Kardashian says that Kanye West needs a lot of attention.
Yes. Yeah.
All right.
I
need a lot of attention too. How come that's not in the news?
Well, it is now. Other nominees for Understatement of the Year are Donald Trump needs a lot of blow drying, Alabama needs a lot of teeth, and Charlie Sheen needs a lot of pills. Go on.
Okay, Larry King turns 82 today. Happy birthday,
Joanna Angel.
Larry
Hello.
King.
Wow.
Sherman Oaks. Hello.
Michael Phelps announced yesterday that his girlfriend.
Oh wait,
is...
slow down.
Oh,
slow
I'm
down.
sorry. Oh, do we have to talk about Larry King?
We can talk about Larry
first.
King a little if you want.
Should we sing Happy Birthday?
We can't.
Do you want to sing?
Unless you're like happy birthday.
Oh, that's right.
This song is
Yes.
not owned by anyone.
Trademarked.
Happy birthday.
Do you have your own Burning Angel version of Happy Birthday?
No, but I'll work on that before the next time I come on the show.
Do you know Larry King? Crazy thing about him is like he got canned from his gig and he was like, I'm not retiring. And he went straight into the world of podcasting, like video and audio podcasting. Like you really have to admire a guy like that. He was just like,
Yeah, you got to admire that. I have mad
crazy.
respect for Larry King. Doesn't he have like a really young wife or girlfriend? Or am I
Hot
thinking of
wife.
someone
Hello.
else?
on a
He does,
sliding scale of young, yeah. Like I think she's, I think she might be in her 50s or something like that.
Well,
but I mean,
pretty baller.
yeah. I mean, given the fact that Larry's like 2 years younger than God at this stage in the game, I think it's pretty impressive.
Hey,
He's getting up there.
He's getting
but
up there. He's got a good, 12 years left if he
12?
stays healthy.
94.
Grim
94,
Reaper. Hello.
Yeah, it's like George Burns. He's going to go out like he came in. He's going to go out broadcasting like George Burns went out on stage being a stand-up comic into his 90s. I think he's the eternal optimist. With Larry King, I think the colostomy bag is always half full as opposed to half empty. All right, what else do you got?
Okay, a new study says you only have to have sex once a week to be happier, and any more won't make a difference.
Apparently, there's all these levels of pre-existing
So
happy
if you have sex
chemicals in your
10
brain.
times a week or once a week, you are the same amount of happy? Like, isn't it kind of relative? It's sort of... What kind of study is this?
I think it's probably vaguely scientific in that, like when you do things like run, when you do things like go to the gym or take a walk outside in the beautiful sunshine, or you get busy with a significant other, bounce chicka wow wow style, there's certain chemicals that are released in your brain that make you happy. And I guess the point is once they're released, they're in there for the week, and you can continue to do the thing that released those chemicals. You can go on many jogs. You could do it many times, but you're not going to get past that initial level of, I did it, I'm happy.
Yeah.
Do you, it was not too much of a personal question. If you had to take an average, do you think a week ever goes by where you don't have sex?
There's definitely been... there has been. There definitely has been. When I was single, that did happen. And then sometimes I'm just, life happens. You get like really, really busy, and I'm traveling and I'm just not home much. It happens.
Yeah,
but I'm pretty fortunate. I probably get laid more than your average person. But there's definitely times, even yesterday. It's been a really busy week. I turned to my boyfriend and I was like, God, we haven't had sex in 5 days. What's going on?
And then what'd you do? Roll over and fall asleep and leave him to ponder that one by himself?
And I'm like, so let's make an appointment in 3 hours. I've got an open space of time. So, yeah.
Do you find you get less? Because I'm used to very, very long, extended periods of drought. I've become a sexual camel. I can store that up through my long, soulless, lonely journeys in the sexual desert and be fine with it. But as somebody who, as somebody who is getting some...
That's what part of, my job in this world is to provide entertainment to people when you're in the drought and some fantasy and some enjoyment. So...
Have you
that's
noticed
okay.
your level of happiness dipping when you're not getting any?
You definitely do get anxious. I definitely say that you get this level of anxiety when you're not getting laid, and it's almost like you have to do something else with that energy. I did find that when I wasn't getting laid very much, I would go to the gym more. I would do bizarre things. to try to
bizarre things like what?
Oh, I don't know. Like
sublimate, I think is the
organized
is the
clothes.
Expression.
Organized clothes.
Have you ever
to try to just supplement that frustration?
Have you ever seen that episode of Seinfeld where George gives up sex and like he gives it up and all of a sudden he's hitting home runs as he's the New York Yankees batting coach?
Oh no,
and
I can't remember that episode in particular.
He learns how to speak Portuguese overnight because his mind isn't occupied with it, and he gets like 200% smarter, and then he gets a chance to get some, and all the smarts go away. Look, you go to the gym more. Sometimes you're more creative. Sometimes a little creative tension caused by a sexual drought could be productive.
Sometimes it can be. It is true, and it can be. And sometimes when you are getting laid a lot, like your brain, like, you know, especially if you're like in a new relationship or something.
No, we don't know what you're talking about.
You know what I mean? When you're getting laid a lot and you're in like a new relationship or something, it's hard to almost focus on anything else, you know, and you're just like, I want to finish doing this thing so I can just go get laid again. Yeah, we've all been there, you know, so there might even, but it's still, it means you're happy. You could be happy, but maybe you're not being like super productive. So maybe there is a perfect level of sex that keeps your life.
We're still trying to find it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
Whatever it is.
It's a stupid study.
Well, I think the takeaway from it is that getting busy can make you happy. Go on. What else do you got?
Yeah. Okay. A new survey says more Americans are turning to tofurkey or other non-meat entrees for Thanksgiving. I thought that phase was over. You know, like I went back in the day in the early New Jersey hardcore days. I was vegan. And I was definitely not a healthy vegan. And I don't know. I thought, don't people hate soy now? Isn't everybody afraid of soy? And there's a lot of soy in tofu. I thought people were going more towards like paleo, gluten-free diets than they were vegetarian diets, because vegetarian doesn't always mean healthy.
Yeah, I think there was a fear. And you know what? I did the same thing. I had hippie parents, and I was a vegan for like 12 years.
I was a vegan for 6 years.
We would have been besties back in the day.
I know. I'm telling you, we probably dated. Maybe we never met. We probably internet dated or something.
ASLMV.
Yeah.
Wait. What's the MV stand for?
Meat or veggie.
Oh, meat or
veggie.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, I'm well acquainted with tofurkey. It's disappointing.
I've had it. No, I've spent several Thanksgivings having it, and it's disgusting.
Yeah.
It's not good. It's almost better to just make yourself some, like a sweet potato dish or, you know, like a vegetable dish. Like the tofurkey, it's gross.
Yeah.
It's gross. And I don't like a lot of and a lot of
meat
those fake
substitutes.
meats. A lot of the fake meats are really not healthy either, because they're just made of like all carbs and soy and stuff. They're just, it's, yeah. Some of them are healthy. I forget which one. That tempeh stuff is okay for you.
Yeah, that stuff tastes terrible.
Yeah, it does.
It's
that
like,
stuff does taste terrible.
You put it, you're like, oh, this must be what evil tastes like.
Yeah,
it's disgusting.
it's
like,
not good.
let me ask you this: what made you fall off of the vegan bandwagon and start eating delicious dead animal again?
I stopped caring. I wasn't vegan for health reasons. I was vegan for like political reasons. And one day I just was like, you know what? Like, I love animals and stuff, but I think it's okay to eat them. Or not even that I actually think it's okay. I mean, I still know morally it probably is better that you don't. But I don't know. I was like, there are other issues in this world I care about more, and I'm just not as passionate about this, and I'm just going to stop. I don't know. I think I was just kind of done.
My hippie parents, I wound up being a vegan because I didn't really have a ton of say in the matter. I just like, oh, we're vegan now? Okay. Fine, I guess, you know. And to be fair, when I was living at home and Mom was doing the cooking as a teenager, I think I ate pretty well. I got a balanced diet. I got all the things that I needed to get to be able to function and stuff. But once I was this guy in a band and hit the road, and my mom wasn't cooking for me anymore, and I was living on Cracker Barrel toast and Denny's house salads, like, I started feeling terrible.
Yeah. Oh, I would get so sick all the time because I would eat nothing but like potato chips and like, I don't know, French fries and falafel, and like, I wasn't a healthy vegan.
Yeah.
And then
I will,
all those like a lot of that fake meat's not even good for you. And I would just go to like those health food stores and get these like deep fried tofu sandwiches and like ugh.
I'll let you know what caused me to fall off the vegan bandwagon when we get back.
Okay.